Welcome back to another episode of Spilling Tequila. I'm your host, Ariana Cantor, and we're going to spill more tea. There is something about having a microphone in your hand that just makes you feel like you're going to sing. Like I see so many people with podcasts that just like randomly break out singing, and I'm like, I get it. It's difficult speaking into the microphone. Like your go-to thought is to just let it rip. Karaoke. But no one really wants that here from me. I've actually, like, my entire life, I thought I was a horrible singer. And I felt like that gave me the confidence or lack of confidence to be able to sing or, like, believe in my singing ability. So lately, alone, I've been really testing out my singing ability. I don't know that I'm able to sing. I don't know if it's able to sound good. But it is what it is. Honestly, it's really hard to hear yourself sing. I think it's better than when I thought it wasn't good. We're working on it. I don't know. Could you imagine me singing? I think that's something I'll always keep sacred and private for myself. But we're so motherfucking back. We're so fucking back. And we're going to talk more about relationships just because, like, I get a lot of messages asking about relationship issues. Word on the town, word of mouth is relationship issues galore. I just feel like there's always something to dive into when it comes to recognizing things about relationships and growing and humility. And today, what I really want to get into is healthy breakups can suck too. They actually sometimes can be worse. I feel like the unhealthy breakups are bad in their own way because they're toxic. It's easy for you to have like that hate and recognize that it's not good for you. But then it's difficult because it's like addicting and it's just not easy knowing something's bad and it'll never be good. But healthy breakups look like, to me, they're two people that are just not in alignment. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are bad people, but they just are not aligned with one another, especially at that time when you're feeling that way. And I feel like what comes, like, a topic that kind of intertwines with the one I'm talking about today is like how much I despise egos, because egos are what stand in the way of like a lot of things in life, but healthy breakups. I feel like we live in a society where egos are constantly in the way of people not wanting to get their feelings hurt, so they're not willing to take as many risks on themselves in life in general, in relationships. Everyone's trying to protect themselves from getting hurt, which I completely understand. I am protecting myself of the same thing, but it's finding that middle line of like, I don't want to spend my whole life protecting from everything and anything. Like, I am willing to go into something even with the possibility that it won't work out. And I'm not talking about falling in love or fantasizing about someone you just recently met or anyone that you meet thinking that things could work out before you get to know the person. I'm talking about like actually getting to know someone with the thought in mind. You don't fully know them yet, and maybe it couldn't work out, and it wouldn't be anyone's fault in this situation that things aren't working out the way you wanted them to. It's okay to get hurt, and it is okay to let someone else down. And the story I'm going to go into today is a relationship I had in my later 20s that I really, really, really liked the person. And I thought it was going to be something more, but it wound up not working out. And it was tough. So I was not looking for a relationship, and I met someone. And this person was so exciting, so comforting, honestly taught me so much of what a healthy relationship looks like. Like, there was nothing that I could do that there wasn't full support in my relationship. I just felt like so seen more than I ever have in a romantic relationship. And there was ultimately like an incredible friendship and an amazing connection. Things did go pretty quick, and The relationship itself was incredible, but there was a piece of me yelling at me that I wasn't okay with, like, how the relationship was going and how I felt like where I felt like I could wind up. Like, I love traveling. I want a very big, exciting life. I want to be able to do whatever I want to do. I don't really like limits. Like, I don't like limiting beliefs or a simple, I mean, that sounds bad, but whatever. I don't like, I'm not a simple girl. Like, I don't want a simple lifestyle. Like, I am not the girl that you can move into the suburbs where you grew up and like hang out with the same people for the rest of your life. Nothing against that. That's just not me. I think there's great friendships and memories and everything made and maintained in that kind of lifestyle, and like having the beautiful home and the beautiful family. I just see things a little bit differently. Like, I still would like a family and a nice home, but I'm not in a rush to get there. And I don't even know where I want to wind up doing that. Like, I want to travel the world first and see where I want to live. So the way I think is okay, and the way someone else thinks is okay. But I need to make sure that when I'm in a relationship, we are aligned in that sense. And I think in the beginning, I was just so excited. Like, it's not every day you find one of those connections that you know it's going to be something, like when you just feel it inside and you just like, you like that person a lot more than you like anyone else you know in your life. And then things are good for so long and you're like, wow, how the fuck is this so good? Maybe this is forever. Your mind just starts going all over the place. But then reality hits you and you start to get comfortable in the relationship, and your eyes start to open and you wake up and see, is this for me? Is this not for me? And I think that there's no right or wrong way, but if I analyze it and I were to go back, I think if we took the relationship slower, maybe there wouldn't have been such a deep heartbreak. But because things kind of went faster and we were learning each other as we were already in such a deep relationship, things escalated very fast. We dated for about 9 months and it felt like we dated for 2 years. And like, that breakup was just really difficult. But I was very open about like the things that I want eventually. And my partner at the time was telling me that he wanted all of the same things. And it sounded nice, but it was just like the words that sounded nice because there was no actions being taken in any direction that we've ever talked about. And I started to realize this person was not a bad person. This person cared so much and was great, but kind of was lying to me about what they really wanted, which means they were probably lying to themselves and didn't see themselves in the life that I wanted. They wanted a much more simple life. They wanted a life like that they wanted, and that wasn't what I wanted, but they were lying to themselves just to keep me around. And I think there was a piece of me that even started lying to myself. Like, I thought numerous times, like, could I be okay in the suburbs? Could I be okay, like, settling down? Could I be okay with like getting engaged within the next 2 years, moving to the suburbs, having a family? And no. For me, I'm just not on a timeline. I think those things are going to come so naturally, and putting my life in a timeline kind of limits me in the sense of like what I can and can't do. And that's just not what I want. And the person I was with definitely wanted this. It wound up getting messy. Like, I tried ending this relationship for 2 months, and because this person was lying to themselves about what they wanted, and I was being a weak little bitch, and I was like just wanting to believe also that things could get better. It took me 2 months to break up with them. And then I finally did. And it was right before my birthday because I didn't want that person to take me on a trip for my birthday or get me a gift or anything, because I knew the relationship was over. And I was just so vulnerable for my birthday. It was so sad. I felt like he like definitely resented me for it, even though we tried so many times. And like, I realized he was trying harder on their relationship than on himself. And that was something that like felt so selfish of me. Like everyone should be, I was putting myself first. He needed to put himself first as well. There was a deep feeling inside of me that both of us knew the relationship wasn't working, but I was the only one to say anything. And I really do feel that was the case now, because the plan wasn't to like never speak to each other again. And we were vulnerable after the breakup and we were talking. And after my birthday, everything changed. And he kind of had this demeanor and said to me that it wasn't the relationship necessarily ending. It was that his ego was hurt because he's never been broken up with before, which I'm sure is bullshit. But he wanted to get the power back because his ego was so in the way of it. So now I'm talking about how healthy breakups are fucking difficult and how they can get messy too. And everyone doesn't have their best foot forward. And then the ego comes into fucking play, because I did not have my ego in any of that. I wasn't breaking up with someone because I thought they were going to break up with me first. I was breaking up with someone because I saw they weren't working on themselves anymore. And they were trying to like form into like exactly what I wanted. And I wasn't asking for that. And now, because of my trauma in my past, I'm like, wait, now you don't want me? Like, it was just a fucking mess. And that person went and like told a totally different story of why we broke up to make it seem like I was in the wrong, instead of being able to recognize and understand like we both weren't happy and this both wasn't for us. I think he told his family and his friends that I was just in it for the money, and he didn't have any money. So like I don't even know what the fuck that meant. Like his family had money, but he did not. And I genuinely liked him as a person. I was not in it for the money, but I guess that was an easy thing to say. To be like, oh, yeah, she was just a gold digger. And it's like, no, actually, I'm a really driven girly that wants to make a lot of money and not depend on someone else for it. And you didn't have the same aspirations as I do. So I wasn't judging, but I was now I'm judging because of how you went about it. Long story short, he blocked my number, I guess, to go with the story. And, you know, it took me a while to mourn that loss of that relationship and even more of that friendship. And at the same time, to feel like I was in the wrong for it ending, because one, I was the one who took the steps to go through with the breakup. Then I was labeled as the bad guy. And I'm telling you, this relationship changed everything for me when it comes to how I view relationships. I used to think that something bad had to happen. If it was a healthy relationship, then it had to work. You were lucky if you had a good person, but that doesn't make sense. Like, not every relationship you have has to be toxic and then one is good, and that's how your cookie crumbles. That is completely settling, and it is such a limiting belief to think that there aren't that many good people out there. Like, yes, the fuck there are. And there's even some good people being shitty that can get their stuff together. Like, good people do exist. It's if you want to view life thinking that there's not really good people, so you have to settle with whatever half-ass relationships or friendships there are, then that's on you. But I'm not viewing that life that way. And from the outside looking in, I don't think you should either. Now I work really hard on practicing like not giving a fuck about being accepted or rejected, because I don't want to stay in situations longer than I'm supposed to. And also think what defines me is one of those things. Like, I could have another perfectly healthy relationship again, and it could also not be for me. I mean, I want to find a person that like I can be with forever, but I just know that when I want that and when that's what I'm looking for, that's exactly what I don't find. And also that it just messes with your emotions. Like, I'd rather not want something and then receive it than want it and not receive it and feel not satisfied. Like, it just adds in another layer of complications that is so not needed. And I also want to make sure that like the next person I'm dating, I can be friends with still after the relationship. I think this all the time. Like, I don't know if that's really stupid of me to think that could be possible, but like, I don't think that when a romantic relationship ends, you should have to like completely go no contact, never see each other again. Like, maybe because if kids were involved, then you have kids together, you definitely need to see each other again. If you choose someone out of a very large population of people to be in a relationship with, you like that person a lot. And there's not a lot of people that I like a lot and that I feel like understand me and I understand. So I want to wish that person the best, whether it's with me or not with me. I just think the ego gets so in the way and stops us from doing that. Like, there's literally not a person in this world that has never been rejected. Like, we all battle rejection, and I feel like trying to avoid rejection honestly is more weak than receiving it, because at least you're putting yourself out there and trying in life. I've never looked at someone and thought everyone breaks up with them. I better not know everyone you dated prior. That would be a really big red flag. But regardless, I would still think in my mind, like, if someone said to me, yeah, my ex broke up with me, I would think, okay, great. That means you weren't compatible and there's a chance for like us to potentially get to know each other. Like, you're open. I wouldn't think anything more. But now if I found out someone broke up with someone because they were like abusive mentally or physically or toxic, then that's something to know. But that's a whole different field. We're not even touching on that stuff today. We're talking about healthy relationships and fuck the ego. And if you're someone who constantly does feel like you're being rejected, that's the problem. That's the narrative you're going with and telling yourself, and you're going to continue to feel that way. Rewrite the motherfucking narrative and start to feel accepted, or honestly embrace the rejection. Mind over matter, baby. You can sit there and think to yourself, like, I have not been accepted yet. That lucky person who I accept and accepts me, like, let's get it going. That's what I do. I've been rejected so many times. My last episode, I talked about how I got rejected kindly in a situationship and how much it bruised my ego. That was a motherfucking wake up call too, because I think the bruising of the ego hurts more than not even having that person. Like, it doesn't even make sense. And it's all for the image of like what you're bringing to the table in the next relationship. Like, if you go into a date with someone and you sit there and you think, oh, I've never been dumped before. Like, every person I've dated has been obsessed with me. Guess what? I think you're a narcissist. Or you're just like masking your pain and it's super fake. Because the goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is definitely to be confident in who you are, what you have, like what you bring to that table, and loving yourself, but it's not to be perfect. I thought that I had to be perfect and I had to be accepted by everyone. I was a very insecure person. So the irony on that, I think something that makes sense, but you don't recognize until later, is time. I feel like you almost always realize why it didn't work out after X amount of time goes by. Like, there's no relationships in my past that I sit there and think like, I don't know why that didn't work out. I understand clearly why every single relationship I've had didn't work out, with me being the problem. The problems that were in the relationship with that person, I was just clouded at the time and couldn't see clearly. Was I ignoring a lot? Yeah. And what was I ignoring it for? For like the fantasy in my mind of continuously making it work. How is it going to look if my relationships ended? How much is it going to suck healing? Like, you think about all the what ifs, and the what ifs keep you trapped in it that much longer. And then you get out of it and time goes by and you're like, wait, nothing is or could be as bad as the what if scenarios that kept me trapped in that fucking thing too long. I think that, but I also need to like practice what I preach. Like, the next relationship I get into, if it doesn't work out, I need to trust my gut and get the fuck out of it. I don't know, different approach to dating, hopefully different level of maturity that I'm entering into. We shall see. I don't even know if I'm getting myself back out there yet, but this episode was a real ass story, a real lesson, and just some reassurance that healthy breakups suck too. and sometimes can hurt worse than unhealthy relationship breakups. I think they're both bad in their own way. Honestly, they both hurt differently, and you're not alone. We all go through them. I think that we have to like go through so many lessons in life to fucking learn them, because if you're anything like me and you're human, I have to learn the hard way. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Spilling Tequila. I'm your host, Ariana Cantor. I'll see you same time, same place next week. Like, comment, subscribe, hit me up. Let's fucking go.